Black Friday online spending reached a record $9.8 billion in the United States, and Cyber Monday sales are expected to hit more than $12 billion. So what is everyone spending on? Mark New tells us.
This year's Black Friday shopping at brick-and-mortar stores did see an increase in foot traffic, with a 1% bump in in-store sales from a year ago.
At the stores, relative calm compared to the mad rushes of years ago. While in-store shopping saw modest gains, online Black Friday shopping increased by about 8%, and it's not done yet. When Black Friday finishes, Cyber Monday kicks in.
That's traditionally the dedicated day for online shoppers like Brian Cracker, who is checking out everything from power tools to clothing to electronics.
Some of the electronics were really, 50% off and, even more. Yeah, really surprising. Keep to your budget and you can get a lot of good deals and enjoy the experience.
Norman Fong is the co-founder of Buy Via, a shopping site and mobile app that helps customers find the best deals. He says despite inflation concerns and a sluggish U.S. economy, companies are offering good deals and consumers are continuing to spend.
Even a year ago, we had a lot of constraints on things like the video game consoles, PS5, Xbox X, even the Nintendo Switch. All of them are fully available. Laptops, Apple Watches, all sorts of different products readily available. I don't see shortages of anything. And in my mind, because the economy has softened, there's probably a surplus of inventory in warehouses. So all these stores want to get the products out there. We've seen some really good discounting.
Fong also says he's seen an increased Cyber Monday presence from Chinese online shopping sites like Shein and Temu.
Primarily clothes, although they have things like electronics and knickknacks and smartphone accessories, different low-cost items that people might find as good as stocking stuffers. I know definitely folks like Amazon and Walmart are watching that area. And actually Walmart specifically, I've noticed an influx of Asian products.
If there's one major takeaway from this year's shopping holiday sales, Fong says that's best summed up by the word earlier. Many of the Black Friday sales started online up to a week earlier, while some of the Cyber Monday sales actually started on Saturday. Mark New, CGTN, Mountain View, California.
Meanwhile, in Spain, Amazon managed to avert a strike on Cyber Monday. Amazon made a deal on pay and working conditions with the CCOO trade union. 20,000 workers at its fulfillment centers in Spain then effectively called off a planned strike. 5,000 delivery workers will still go on strike for 1 hour during their shifts on Monday. The industrial action is part of a global campaign known as Make Amazon Pay, which is coordinated by a global union, UNI, and it is the 4th year for that campaign. Okay, let's talk more about cyber spending on Cyber Monday, and for that we are joined by Jason Goldberg. He is the Chief Commerce Strategy Officer. You have to help me out this name. Publicis Groupe. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Struggled with that one. Jason, let's first talk about Black Friday. Now, I did some shopping from my laptop, and that kind of begs the question, is Cyber Monday still a thing?
It is still a thing. Both Black Friday and Cyber Monday are very significant peaks in the holiday season, but less so than they used to be. The whole holiday is sort of flattening out so that all the days are big days.
Okay, consumers were off and charging this year. Any sign that they are concerned about inflation?
There are. We certainly came into holiday very conservative. Consumers were spending, but they're spending on essentials and value-oriented essentials. So a lot of those discretionary purchases were quite slow leading up to the holiday. And while there's been some increase in those discretionary categories, it's been at the lower price points. So we've seen like apparel, footwear, health and beauty have had a nice bump this year over the holiday weekend. But categories like home improvement and consumer electronics, still have been a little softer than we would like or expect.
That's interesting because certainly the retailers are doing everything they can ahead of Black Friday and ahead of Cyber Monday to get you to put a toe in the water and drop some money. So that didn't work, or it didn't work as well as they wanted it to?
It certainly hasn't worked as well as they wanted it to. Consumers are slightly starting their holiday shopping earlier, but not as much as retailers want. Amazon actually launched a second Prime event this year in late October, and a lot of retailers followed suit with a lot of early holiday discounts. So the discounting started earlier, but consumers were cautious, and they really were waiting till Black Friday and Cyber Monday to find the best deals. And so while retailers started early, I think consumers did less so.
You know, I guess it goes back to when you start getting pumpkin spice in August, there are too early for some things. What are people looking for in big ticket items? You talked about electronics, you talked about other items, and people are buying clothes, but what are they looking for?
Yeah, so the discounts have to be deeper to get consumers to move. And so we sort of have a saying this holiday, 40% off is the new 30% off. And so we are seeing much more significant discounting. You know, that does move the needle for consumers. The big categories in consumer electronics are really things like smartwatches. The high ticket items like televisions and laptops have continued to be pretty slow. So it seems like consumers are spending on discretionary items, but it's these affordable luxuries more so than the real aspirational purchases at this point.
Okay, let's pick up on what you talked about. 40 is the new 30, because what kind of deals are out there? I did some browsing earlier, and to tell you the truth, I wonder if they jack up, you know, the high price and then say, we're going to give you 40% off that. And I'm sure a lot of people think just the way I do.
Yeah, well, there certainly is a fair amount of what we call deal fatigue out there, and a lot of retailers do use this tactic that they call high-low pricing, where they set a high price but have frequent sales, so consumers rarely pay that high price. It's actually illegal to always offer the low price, by the way. But you're certainly right. Right, and consumers have seen a lot of these deals before. There's, you know, a lot of back-to-school deals and the summer Amazon Prime event, and then we had these early holiday deals. Now we've got Black Friday and Cyber Mondays, which are very similar deals, and the best deals may still be to come. If holiday continues to be soft, the retailers are in a really good inventory position, and they're going to want to move that inventory. So it's entirely possible that if sales don't pick up, we'll see even deeper discounts as we get close to the sort of Christmas cutoff, where consumers have their last chance to buy goods that will still arrive in time for the holidays.
You know, what I was told was it's called Black Friday because that's the day that companies start making profit, therefore going into the black. I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds good. But what about profits? A lot of sales are going on, but is that going to translate into aiding the company's bottom line?
Yeah, it's likely to really be a challenging environment for profitability. Again, we came into this quarter kind of soft. Recession had really taken a bite out of the American consumer. They're spending a lot on essentials. They're spending more on food, things like eggs in particular. And so they were spending less on discretionary stuff, and those essentials are less profitable for retailers. So retailers were really optimistic and hopeful that consumers would open up the wallets and spend on the higher margin gift items that they traditionally do over holiday. And the early results are sort of mixed in that regard. And because retailers are having to discount so much, it's really shaping up to be a holiday season that's likely to be sort of okay on a revenue standpoint and probably disappointing on a profitability standpoint.
Really, that's going to be interesting. Okay, what about Singles Day and China's economic holidays? Other countries have the same kind of thing. How does that stack up against the United States Black Friday?
Yeah, well, obviously Singles Day is a lot newer and younger than Black Friday or Cyber Monday. And so for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been used to these eye-watering growth numbers happening on Singles Day. Right. The law of large numbers is probably starting to catch up with Singles Day. The pace of growth has sort of slowed down. And of course, there have been some economic headwinds in China. And so this year on Singles Day, we saw about a 9% growth in sales over the previous year, which is sort of right in line with online sales that we're seeing on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. They're kind of in that 7 and 9% growth figure. So at the moment, we seem to have a parity in online shopping. Of course, in the U.S., the bulk of shopping is still in store, and there the growth is more anemic. It's only about 2 to 2.5%.
You know, Jason, kind of an out of the box question because, you know, it was cold and snowy in a lot of the United States over this past weekend. Does that early chill, does it make people feel more Christmassy? Are there any kind of stats out like that? When it's cold out, do they feel more in the holiday spirit than if it's going to be 78 degrees?
So there's a joke, no matter how retail performs, we always blame it on the weather. There is a school of thought that cold weather, as long as there aren't storms that keep people in the house, can be helpful. Winter apparel is more expensive and more profitable than summer apparel, right? So when it gets cold and people need new winter coats, that's actually helpful to the U.S. economy and certainly holiday spending. So, like, I would argue the cold streak probably came a little late this year to really affect this kind of first holiday weekend. But if the cold persists, that's likely to help retailers. If we get a giant snowstorm and people can't get their cars out of the garage, that, of course, does not help retail.
Okay, Jason Goldberg, Chief Commerce Strategy Officer of Publicis Groupe. Thanks very much. I certainly appreciate it. We'll talk to you again before the end of holiday shopping, I'm sure. Thank you.